actually have a network of MPAs all along our California.
Very good.
Hi, my name is David Hicks, Vice President of Business Development for the ISV Ecosystem team here at Oracle. As part of our ongoing Cloud Talk series, we've actually got a very special guest today who I'm very excited to have him join. It's actually something that's a little bit more personable even to myself with what we're going through here with COVID these days. Not only are they, again, as I mentioned, a very important partner, actually kind of customers of each other's products. And these days, I feel like I live my life working with their product. And so I think from this standpoint, we're going to be able to share some very good insights today. I'm joined by Brandon Ittelson from Zoom, CTO, and I think there's some very good points that we'll cover for you today. I do want to highlight, this is such an interesting time with what we're experiencing with COVID, the virtual nature of business. We're meeting today, even for the first time in a virtual nature, despite, the relationship. We've seen some things even from Larry Ellison himself talking about the nature of Zoom and video conferencing just being an essential service to even how Oracle is doing business. So very excited to actually be able to bring some of this story to everybody today. And honestly, Brendan, I'd like to thank you, first and foremost. I can imagine with what's going on, the busy nature and demands on, your schedule. I always tell everybody, I think our partners tell our story better than we do as far as, the experience with Oracle and working with, the cloud. And I just want to kind of, again, convey, what a great opportunity it's to talk to you. And again, pleasure to be using your product and services, dozens of times a day as we go through virtual. So thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me and being here today.
Yeah, well, so obviously I introduced you, Brendan is the CTO for Zoom, but maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit better and really what that means, at Zoom about your role.
Definitely. So as the CTO, I bring my background, which is in technology, security, and scaling, highly available and user-friendly, platforms. So my job is really to look at creating and executing on Zoom's technical vision.
Oh, great. And thanks for that. And what an interesting time it's actually been for you the last 6 months. I've seen some of the stats of the growth and the demand that's taken off. So what, in these last 6 months, what's it actually been like to be the CTO at Zoom? And what are you kind of most proud of? You guys have done a lot of great things.
Well, it's been an incredible time to be at Zoom. I mean, we're just so proud that we've been able to be part of how people are keeping connected with one another during this unprecedented time. Businesses, education, healthcare, and just people around the world are using Zoom. And the massive growth, which has seemed to be almost overnight, has probably been one of our biggest challenges. But our ability to keep our service up and running is actually the thing that I've been most proud of at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine it's been a great experience for us and our use as well. So with these interesting times, how do you kind of see companies changing, adapting, transforming, the way they're actually working and, managing employees and relationships, with partners and customers as a result of COVID?
Well, a lot of folks are, looking at change right now, and I look at, Zoom ourselves and how we're managing. I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago now when we sent all of our employees home back in March. And that was actually a few weeks before some of the shelter-in-place orders went into effect. And that might come to a shock to you that I said about sending all of our employees home, but actually Zoom had a very mostly in-office culture. But we've been able to make this transition to the environment today thanks to collaboration tools that allow us to communicate and connect amongst our colleagues, our partners, to continue the dialogue and ensure that things can be as seamless as possible.
Yeah, no, and I know what you mean there. Oracle has done very much the same, and I never thought that it would have been as seamless to conduct business as we have, which has been very, very, fortunate. Along those lines, there's the business aspect of it as well, but I hear of Zoom getting used for weddings, for happy hours, athletic recruitment these days. What are some of the stories that you can share as far as how you've heard of some of the interesting uses of Zoom during these times?
The thing that I can say is folks are amazing and creative and love hearing all the stories and use cases and really seeing how people are using it as all parts of their life. And that's what has been so amazing to us. We've seen adoptions that have taken place and been empowered over Zoom, which is so heartwarming. Other side of the equation, we've seen folks that have had celebrations of life ceremonies that they have been able to facilitate using the platform to bring that community together. And so really, we appreciate that in those important moments in folks' journey, we're able to be there to help keep them connected.
Yeah, no, that's great. The business side is important, but it's why we all kind of work is the family and the personal side. So wonderful that people are able to find those technology uses as well. Let me shift gears a little bit, here, if you don't mind. So, clearly when, COVID started, things changed drastically for all of us, you guys, as a result of trying to help everybody with that. What were some of the technical challenges that Zoom was trying to solve when you kind of first started, evaluating, working with the Oracle Cloud infrastructure?
Well, at that time, the big thing that we were looking at is as things happen on the global scale, looking at how we could keep up with demand and meet those needs. We wanted to ensure folks were able to stay connected. So we were looking at what we could do to expand with the options of the cloud and within our data centers.
Yeah. And what are some of the results then that you've seen actually in working with OCI? I've again heard some of the stats of how quick you guys went from testing and evaluating to production and, the numbers and such. But, anything there that you can share with us, around, your journey to the cloud, or at least journey to Oracle's cloud?
Love to share the story on our journey. And it's actually fascinating because that journey started actually last year in 2019 when the Oracle team came and visited some of our Zoom offices to see what we were doing in terms of our infrastructure and learn more about Zoom. And we had a great meeting where they showed the benefits of the OCI platform, and we sort of left that session going, let's see how this platform can work for Zoom in the future. Now, fast forward a few months later, and the global pandemic begins to ramp up, and the usage of Zoom begins to skyrocket. And our ops team is then going and looking at, how can we expand to meet demand, and start looking at the public cloud. So one weekend, our team is looking at, the projected numbers that are coming up and looking at how we're going to meet that demand. And naturally, that conversation from not too long before sparked in the back of their mind. And so they called the team and very quickly set up a new tenancy and then had servers in operations within a few hours. And the Oracle team was there to help. So post-server deployment, both OCI and the Zoom team were doing a daily cadence call to make sure that any issues that came up were, quickly resolved and that things were moving forward. And during this journey, we didn't really experience any major issues. The OCI team was all in to help us during that process.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And it kind of reminds me, my boss says we have to do our best work after we win the deal, right? And so I'm pleased to hear that that's indeed your experience, because that's obviously what we strive to with our partners. So you said we kind of came and presented, some of the benefits of what we see as far as OCI is. If you don't mind, what are some of the benefits that you have seen, then specifically with OCI around some of those, performance, cost, value, whichever, you'd be willing to share with us today?
Definitely. So I think the quickness of scaling at a competitive price definitely stands out, and especially when you think about that journey. And then the level of engagement with the team has been tremendous. When we have seen issues, they have been all in to engage and work towards root cause so that we can continue to move forward.
Yeah, well, and you guys are kind of mission critical these days, clearly. So, we're obviously all here though for our end users and our customers. What's the experience? What's what are the benefits they seeing of us being able to work together?
Well, I think the big thing is our customers have been able to use Zoom confidently. Expanding to OCI has helped our service continue to function at the massive scale. And we continue to expand our meeting service footprint globally to get closer to our end users now, thanks to that deployment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we'll all be working and using Zoom here for a very long time to come. What are you most excited about, with Zoom's future? Obviously, I'm sure this has changed things up and given you guys lots of opportunities, things to think of and reevaluate. But what are a few of those exciting elements, if you don't mind me asking as well?
Oh, definitely. Well, our CEO, Eric Vaughn, founded Zoom because he believed in video-first communication. His vision and mission has never been more clear than it is today. So I'm excited about the innovation that the team has worked on and how it will shape in the future of communications.
Yeah, no, and I do love the innovations. I'm learning how to poll. I'm learning visual backgrounds, all kinds of great things. So I appreciate it, and love to see you guys keep iterating on that. Maybe before we end, Brennan, anything else that you'd like to add that I didn't ask, or any kind of final comments from your side?
I just want to share that Oracle has been a wonderful partner to work with. The support during this time has made it possible for Zoom to connect, millions of people globally. So, thank you so much for having me in the conversation today.
Yeah, no, and thank you for trusting us. As I mentioned, very much as Oracle, and I know a lot of other people see it, truly an essential service. So thank you for that. Thanks for working with us on it. Greatly appreciated. More importantly, thank you for your time. I know you've got a lot going on these days. So with that, obviously, everyone, I'd like to bring to kind of close this segment of our Cloud Talk. Please join us again in the future where we'll have, maybe not the same type of opportunities, but a lot of other partners that are working in their specific segments to make sure that they're helping customers, through the times that we're seeing as well. I'd like to thank you again. My name is David Hicks. Appreciate Brendan Ittelson joining me from Zoom, and we look forward to speaking to you next time. Have a good day.